to Story Lords, the prompt-based fiction podcast with 2 prompts, 3 stories, and infinite laughter. I'm one of your hosts, Rich Masters, and with me, as always, is Jeff Pennington.
What's up?
And Josh Henderson.
The king!
I've arrived, Squires!
Kevin Cole was going to be here, but we had to fire him.
Oh, shit!
The economy got real bad over the past couple weeks. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, no.
Thanks.
Have we told him yet?
When he's not here, so one of us did.
He'll
Thanks,
figure
Trump
it out.
Obama.
We'll text him.
He'll figure it out.
This week, our prompts were... Shit, what were they? I've got them in front of me. Fortresses and spelunking.
And princesses.
And disasters. Fortresses and spelunking. I've got them predictably on my document as spelunking and fortresses.
That doesn't even make sense because we didn't draw them that way, and it's not alphabetical. Why do you gotta be backwards all the time?
Just it's the way I do it, man.
God, thank you, Josh. You, brought my thoughts out of my brain, and I didn't have to say it for once. I appreciate the hell out of that.
You're welcome. It's about variety.
It's not variety. You switch them every time.
There are no rules, man. It's my anti-establishment personality.
He's right.
You're the establishment.
And I'm anti-me.
Well, now we just get to look into his psyche. Now it's like
Josh and I are anti-establishment for putting it the way we want.
Yeah.
You're the establishment.
Princess and disasters, bitch. If you were real anti-establishment, you'd do that every time.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do it the way I want to do it. With that horrifying conversation out the way, let's get some true horror. Seamless segue. And
Rich Masters is a bitch, written by Jeff Pennington, prompts Princesses and Disasters.
This feels
Take it away.
This feels recent. This feels like a recent change.
Oh no, it doesn't have to be recent, trust me. The title of my episode, my story, whoa. The title of my story is Odd Couple Ass Buddy Cop Horse Shit Part 1, Lethal Weapon.
Lethal
weapon.
Johnny Long could feel the stillness in the air, even as the wind howled so loud in his ears that he could feel the force of it inside of his skull. His hands grasped thoughtlessly at the grass he lay upon, finding it brittle and decayed, crumbling to dust between his fingers. He blinked his eyes, straining to see anything through the weary blurriness besides the unmistakable burning red that surrounded him. He had no recollection of how he'd gotten here. No memory to grasp onto within his mind that made sense of it at all. No trail to follow for once. But as he finally regained his vision, he felt the welling unease in his chest that no such information would help him any longer. A high black spire pierced the night sky, bleached red under the searing light of a blood moon which took up the entire sky.
This fucking shit again. Enough with the blood moons.
No.
Are there 2 of them?
A cliff drove down beyond it into an endless abyss of scarlet red seas which churned and lapped against the rocks in a hurricane of wind that Johnny couldn't feel, could only hear. The fortress was tall and broad, bathed in the side facing him in pitch-black shadow, which obfuscated much from the discerning eye. But even within that
inky... there, like red.
But even within that inky blackness, he could make out the movement. The surface of this spire wasn't stone and mortar, but undulating living masses, which he could make out in the shadows. It was the same phenomenon as when you stared into the blackness of your childhood bedroom long after dark, when the fear of the unknown gripped into your heart like a beast's talons and began to pull at you. The shadow shifting and turning in the void beyond where your eyes could see.
A little peek into Jeff's childhood.
Mm-hmm. I was going to say, my uncle? No.
Oh, no.
The fortress is my uncle. No, I don't have an uncle like that.
Scoutmaster Tim?
Oh, no. Johnny struggled to stand, to turn and to run into the darkness beyond the sprawling halo of red light he had awakened in. But the darkness swelled, and the howling wind within his ears finally became clear enough to make out what it truly was that threatened to deafen him. The violent, howling scream of a woman in her death throes. Long, wake the fuck up! I'll pay you to weigh that chair down! Johnny jutted awake, proving that the old wake up from a nightmare twistaroo can catch any of you dumb fuckers off guard no matter how many times I do it.
Yeah, you idiots. I knew it was a dream, you fuckers.
His chair legs slapped hard against the carpeted floor below them as he yanked his legs off his desk and planted them firmly back on the floor. He snorted and rubbed one eye with the back of his knuckle, peering up at the intruder with his other. The imposing old woman with a cigarette dangling out of her mouth eyed him up and down like a custodian eyes the newest batch of vomit on the cafeteria floor that they're going to have to cover up in sawdust for whatever reason they do that.
Why do they do that?
You gonna give me an update on the Brooks cakes? Or am I gonna have to shove my hand up your ass and puppet it out of you, Long? I ain't no Frank Oz and you ain't no Miss Piggy, the older woman barked out, yanking her cigarette out of her mouth and harshly expelling the smoke out into the air like an old tugboat beyond its years, but with more jowls.
Tugboats are the most jowly boat.
She was a white woman of about... She was a white woman of about 60 or 70 years old, depending on how harsh the lighting happened to be, and when the senior citizen discount kicked in.
Cigarettes.
She wore an old brown suit with no tie and an orangey Hawaiian shirt underneath, matching suit pants and a pair of those old people shoes that Gen Z have turned into like one of those ironic memes that eventually just becomes real and they start wearing them. New Balance, I think. I'm not looking it up. Not for this show. Anyway,
Damn.
Johnny Long had come face to face with Mrs. Rose Calder, his direct superior at the Davenport Detective Agency. Miss Piggy probably gets paid more, Johnny said idly, running a quick hand through his wavy black hair and suppressing a yawn to the best of his abilities. She looks a hell of a lot better, too, Miss Calder grunted.
Nice.
I'd fuck her pig ass thrice before I even called you on the telephone for a chat. Brooks case, now. The Brooks family daughter went missing a week ago. Madeline Brooks. Her parents think there's some kind of foul play involved, but the police haven't been able to turn anything up. Johnny said as plainly as he could manage, trying desperately and failing to not think of what having sex with Miss Piggy would be like. Just like most of our audience, and at least Josh has been doing for the last minute. And what exactly have you been doing to further the case besides investigating the inside of your own eyelids? Miss Calder huffed out alongside some thick gray smoke which billowed around her thick cheeks.
Jowl.
Just like your mom's thick cheeks. Didn't they used to have etiquette schools for young women back in your day? I know you didn't get the beauty school because of the obvious, but you should have at least taken a semester with Emily Post, right? Johnny sat up straight in his chair and tapped his index finger on the sheet of paper in front of him on the desk amongst a few closed file folders. Madeline Brooks. Father is Dr. Robert Brooks. Prominent member of the local rich assholes clubs. Anyone you can imagine. And he's connected to a lot of public figures on top of it. I interviewed him and his wife on the matter and found his emotional strain about his daughter's disappearance to be somewhat lacking. What rich asshole gives a shit about anyone but themselves, anyway? You find anything on where the daughter could have ended up? Calder asked with expectation on her old granite features, tapping the ash off the end of her cigarette into the right side pocket of her suit jacket.
Oh, what the fuck?
Keeping it for later.
Just that she was using an old dumbwaiter hatch to slip into the basement and out the house. You should have seen the fucked up setup they had on this girl's bedroom door. Multiple locks, multiple styles, all of them worn like they'd been up there for ages. The parents made it out like she'd been the perfect angel until recently, but that doesn't square, Johnny said idly as he began to fumble around with his pockets to try and find his own cigarettes, having become quite needy for one with all the secondhand smoke pouring out of his employer.
You're making me want to smoke right now.
Why did they go to so much trouble to keep her in, and why did she go to so much trouble to get out? Well, thanks for the exposition dump. I feel like I've been caught up with the forward thrust of this story, just in case maybe I spent a couple of episodes worth of time, just an arbitrary measurement of time to the episode, like maybe on a podcast or something, away from the specifics of the case. I feel refreshed on the narrative and all. Calder said stupidly to get the point across to the audience. I personally felt shame writing that part, but Calder didn't, because she's a fictional character within the story. Johnny waved a hand to excuse her errant thought. He had given up on finding his cigarettes and could hear the echoing voice of Katie in his head reprimanding him about smoking to begin with anyway, so he didn't feel too bad about it. You checked the girl's computer? Calder said offhand, taking another puff off of her death stick. She was probably sold by some lowlife named something like Elon Sleazebagano. Don't smoke, kids.
I know what to sell you districts.
He's become the new Rowling of the series.
Elon Sleazebagano is a real character from Star Wars. Rich, look it up.
He?
He's the guy who says he tries to sell Obi-Wan death sticks, and Obi-Wan gives the mind trick, and he says, I don't want to sell you death sticks.
Yeah, get with the fucking program, Rich. Get real.
You don't know Elon Sleazebago?
No.
What the fuck?
And nor do I care to. He sounds like he's an unsavory character.
He is
With a name like that, how is he not selling death
He
sticks?
is quite unsavory.
What did his parents do to him?
What were they thinking, naming him Elon? That's ridiculous.
Get real.
Get real.
Didn't see a computer, Johnny lied. Bullshit, Long. Calder slammed a fist down onto his desk and turned around in a small, extremely frustrated circle like your boomer aunt does. Her hands raised in anger before turning back to face him. You have to be fucking kidding me. You're the last man on Earth who doesn't like computers. You know that? Johnny replied with a shrug. Well, that's the end of you working the case by yourself, Calder said matter-of-factly, rooting around inside of the breast pocket of her old brown suit for something as she shook her head at him. What? Johnny shot up from his seat, suddenly forced to be active in this conversation against his will. You better not be shoving some idiot up my ass to play partners with, Calder. I work alone, and I've always worked alone. You don't know shit about computers, Long. If you left a crime scene without cracking open the world's biggest piñata with incriminating evidence printed on it in giant red letters, you'd lose your job on the force immediately. And that's exactly what you did at the Brooks home. I ought to shit can you and leave you selling salami on the street corner to the other members of my old-ass bridge club. But I'm doing you a favor. Calder snapped back, pulling out a small red-bound booklet from her pocket and thumbing through it with a grimace on her haggard, time-worn features. I had planned on teaming you two up on this one anyway, had it set up for weeks. You should thank me for giving you somebody who knows what they're doing with computers instead. I know computers fine. That's where the porn comes out of, Johnny spat back indignantly.
He's right.
Here we go, forgot his name for a second. Calder said to herself, ignoring him, and then tucked her booklet back into his pocket. She turned her head away from Johnny and cupped her weathered hands around her old mouth to yell out at the top of her siren-like lungs, Gordy, get the fuck over here, now! From the side of the office that most of the residents called the Virgin Islands, for obvious reasons, since it was the IT department, came slinking a tall, gangly, awkward man in a white suit tailored a little too specifically, with blonde hair combed a little too tightly down onto his head, and a pair of thick circular glasses dangling partway down his nose. He had the gait of a man with a stick rammed so far up his ass he could moonlight as a scarecrow with no additional training.
I thought you said he was a virgin.
Or perhaps a man who has never cummed.
That's terrifying.
He stopped a few steps away from Calder, and his shifty eyes never met her glance, his head somewhat down and to the side away from her. His voice squeaked out, a malodorous combination of not quite high-pitched and yet still immature enough that it sent a cringe down the spine. You called me, Chief? Gordy, this is Johnny Long. Johnny, this is Gordy. Calder said offhandedly, not looking at either of them as she took her spent little cigarette from between her thin, chapped lips and swung it around in the air until its cinder flickered out, then stuffed it into her right jacket pocket with all the ashes she was keeping.
What in the fuck?
Gordy's been cleared on all the specifics of the case already and is officially your partner now. Enjoy. Fuck you, Johnny said directly to Calder's face, though she paid it no mind. Gordon G. Gordon at your cervix, Gordy said with a honking snort of laugh,
God.
holding his hand out for a shake with Johnny. What's that, Rich?
He's back. Wasn't Gordon
back.
G. Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Johnny did not take his hand and instead looked at him like that gif of Ryan Gosling with the sunglasses where he disgustedly looks down then up to meet someone's gaze. You know the one.
Yep.
At your cervix. I'm a man, though? Well, yeah. Gordy pushed his glasses up on his face, looking down at the ground and shifting his eyes around awkwardly. Well, you two are gonna get along probably. I wasn't paying attention, Calder interrupted the awkward exchange, having pulled out another cigarette, lit it, and began to puff it once more. Go back to the Brooks' place and check out the computers. Tell them we have a Warren, like the name Warren G, but make it sound enough like warrant that they let you in, but not enough that they can sue us.
Smart.
She paused, then chuckled her deep, phlegmy chortle. Why am I reminding you of basic operations from the employee handbook? You know this already. And then she turned and left as quickly as she possibly could. Mm-hmm. What a genuine piece of human shit from a butt, Johnny said to no one in particular.
From a butt?
Speaking of, Gordy muttered out, staring directly at Johnny's desk with wide, shaking eyes. The old mahogany desk was scratched, scuffed, and banged to shit for sure, but it was the mountains of pizza boxes, takeout bags, half-drunk coffees, papers, plastic cups, and banana peels just waiting for their opportunity to land on the floor for some cartoonish hijinks scattered all over the surface, which was activating Gordy's fight-or-flight reflexes. You ever clean up after yourself in your whole life, or... What for? Johnny asked without a hint of ire in his voice, very matter-of-factly, as he lifted an old greasy pizza box lid and pulled out a half-eaten slice and took a massive bite of it. He chewed for a moment and then swallowed. Should have rotated this one to the bottom of the pile for composting, I guess. It's gone off. He then took another bite and shoved it back into the pizza box, pushing the whole thing off the desk onto the floor next to a completely full wastebasket. I'm gonna chunk my Ralph, Gordy murmured in a wavering voice, holding his hands over his mouth. You're not one of those petulant clean freak types, are you? 'Cause I'm a curmudgeonly slob, and I'm not trying to get forced into no odd couple-ass buddy cop horse shit this week, Johnny grunted out.
Lethal weapon.
Pointing his index finger accusingly at Gordy. I'm trying to solve a case here, and shit's already gotten spooky and cryptic as shit. What? Gordy responded earnestly. Let's just go. Johnny stood up and slung his leather jacket from the back of his chair up and onto his thin frame. I got a lead to follow up on. Aiden Temple stood in the middle of an empty, overgrown field, rubbing his arm nervously as he watched two men walk towards him from the distance. A week ago, he was dating Madeline Brooks. He'd gotten a part-time job at the Omnizone, if that's still around and hasn't got bankrupted by the time I read this on Tuesday.
Omnizone.
He wasn't flunking Mr. Terwilliger's science class for the first time all semester. He was on top of the world.
Hell yeah.
Now he was about to be questioned about Madeline Brooks' disappearance by two of the strangest-looking people he'd ever seen stand next to each other. The shorter guy seemed fairly cool and collected, an Asian man in his mid-40s with a leather jacket, jeans, and sneakers. Though he also came off as pretty unprofessional since he was meeting a witness while drinking what seemed to be a Slurpee from 7-Eleven.
What?
At least it was
fine.
At least it was the blue flavor.
Yeah.
The taller guy.
Only cops drink the red flavor.
The taller guy looked like a school shooter. Got a job at a funeral parlor that catered exclusively to Mormons. He was awkward.
Necrophilia factory.
He was awkward, sweaty, and wouldn't stop readjusting his necktie over and over again. The two of them seemed to be arguing about something, but Aiden couldn't make it out from this distance. Luckily, or perhaps unluckily for him, they never stopped arguing until they were close enough for him to hear it. I'm just saying that Mrs. Calder said that we're to go straight to the Brooks' home and download their hard drives for study back at the office. We can't just ignore a direct order from the chief, even if she is a woman, Gordy cried out.
Wow.
Over gesticulating with every other word. Look, I got into contact with Madeline Brooks' boyfriend and he agreed to meet us here. There's no better time to... Wait, even if she's a woman? Johnny interrupted himself, turning his head to look at Gordy on the last question.
Well, I didn't mean anything by it. It's just, biologically, men and women,
Gordy began, but was thankfully for all of us cut off.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Aiden Temple, Madeline's boyfriend. Aiden interjected, raising a hand to awkwardly wave to the two of them. He wasn't really used to this kind of interaction on that level with adults because he was the rebel without a cause teenager who didn't fit in and had to remind everyone of that fact every couple minutes every day or else he'd flip the fuck out. You've met this kid.
Then?
Perhaps one or both of the other hosts were this kid. Who knows?
Uh-oh, gotta go.
Hey Aiden, I'm Johnny Long from the Davenport Agency. We spoke on the phone earlier. Johnny held out a hand and Aiden took it, shaking it weakly and letting go a little too fast. His eyes were shifting around the field both before and after, trying to make sure no one saw him shaking hands with a cop. Or cop adjacent or whatever this guy was. A narc, either way.
A narc, yeah.
I'm Gordon G. Gordon, his partner.
Gordy held out his hand to Aiden, who didn't even make an attempt to shake it, and didn't even look at him either. Gordy slowly retracted his hand and awkwardly added,
I bet the middle G doesn't stand what you think for it. It does either.
Look, is there a reason you guys wanted me to take you out here? Aiden interrupted, not giving a shit about Gordy, just like most of the audience and also the author. I've got a shift at AutoZone in 20 minutes.
AutoZone?
You picked the time for this meeting. Why would you schedule it so close to your work? Johnny asked pointedly, raising an eyebrow. Aiden looked around once more, then shoved his hands into his hoodie pockets. Just ask your questions, cop. Johnny shook his head and then continued. We're not cops, we're private investigators, dipshit. We are allowed to carry guns, though. Understand?
Yeah, threaten him. Yeah.
Aiden's entire demeanor suddenly changed. He stood up straight and looked directly at them and instantly shut up. Right on, Johnny said with a grin.
You said...
Gordy was fumbling with a bunch of loose-leaf paper he was shuffling around in his hands, trying to quickly search for something specific amongst the endless pages of shorthand and chicken scratch notes he'd made in the car on the way over here. Both Johnny and Aiden were becoming frustrated and shifting around by this point.
You're not the only one.
You said that this field was being used for an...
He squinted as he read the next words.
All-night rager on the Saturday that Madeline Brooks disappeared, correct? Now, what is that exactly?
Oh my god.
It's a party, you fucking incel. Are you kidding me? Aiden groaned out, frustration finally getting the better of him. What's an incel? Johnny asked earnestly, slipping his hands into the pockets of his leather jacket.
Don't worry about that. Just tell us what happened that night. In your own words, Mr. Temple.
Gordy became all business suddenly. You won't believe me any more than the cops did. The only reason they let me go is because my old man threatened to sue them. They think I killed Madeline, and that's bullshit, man. I loved her. I'd never hurt her. Aiden cried out, his eyes tearing up a little in the process. Calm your tits, Jesus, Johnny said, but in a weirdly kind of comforting way, like that was the best he could do.
We all try our best.
We'll believe you. Go ahead. Yeah, right. Fine. Aiden grunted, rubbing his forehead with his hand idly. All right. Last Saturday, me and Madeline came here for Tony Grant's birthday party. Everyone at school was invited for the most part, and everyone at school showed up, invited or not. The field was full of people, Johnny looked down to the other end of the field. A large house sat situated beyond a high old brown wooden fence, all of the windows dark, but the building was maintained just enough to still be in use. He took note of it.
Would there have been, P&V happening at this party?
Gordy interrupted, rubbing his chin idly as if this was a question that pertained to the case. Both Johnny and Aiden stared at him with blank expressions silently for a moment.
Yeah, full penetration?
Pokemon and Voltron.
It didn't have to be in V. I'm just wondering, for the case.
Doesn't have to be in V.
Please continue, Johnny said sternly. Can he not be here? Aiden asked, staring at Gordy still.
Hard agree.
Like, please? Apparently that's not an option, Johnny murmured, then motioned for Aiden to continue. All right. Well, around 3 a.m. we got separated. I was feeling kind of sick and went over to the tree line and earled like the Duke. By the time I got back to where I left Madeline, she was gone. I haven't even seen her since. Aiden hurriedly finished up his story, rubbing at his arm nervously the entire time. Gordy was furiously writing on the top piece of loose leaf paper with a mechanical pencil that kept having its lead break every couple seconds. So the three of them stood in mostly silence for a minute or so, punctuated every so often with "ch, damn it, ch, damn it, ch, damn it," over and over. So can I go, or... Aiden asked, not looking up to meet the eyes of either man. Sure, Johnny said idly, looking into the far distance for a moment before turning his eyes back to the young man. When you tell us the truth.
Oh, shit.
What? Aiden quickly said in response, rubbing his arm once more as if instinctually. Gordy turned to look at Johnny as well, a little confused. You said that what you had to tell us we weren't going to believe, because the cops didn't believe it. But if that was the whole story you told them, then there wasn't anything to not believe, Johnny said coolly, tilting his head to the side a bit. So tell us what you told him. Stop jerking us around. Fine. I'll tell you, but only because that was really fucking cool, and I feel compelled, Aiden said honestly. Gordy opened his mouth to speak, but Aiden held up a finger to stop him almost instantaneously. Don't fucking ruin this.
How rude,
Gordy said, Stephanie Tannerly. When I was puking in a bush near the woods over there, Aiden pointed towards the tree line in the distance, dark even during the midday thanks to the tall trees creating deep shadows. There was I was like bent over throwing up, yeah? And when I sat up, I saw... Go on, Johnny urged. Aiden was waffling, but steeled himself a bit and pushed forward. I saw a shape in the woods, but it wasn't a shape, It was like a person, but they were huge, like gigantic, Not like a big guy who lifts or something like that, but like huge, like 8 feet maybe. I don't know. And I couldn't make him out except he had this like reflective gold stuff all over him. I don't know, man. I sound nuts even saying it out loud again. I was drunk. Who fucking knows?
This is why I never drink beer or went to parties or spent time with women,
Gordy said, with completely unearned confidence and judgment in his voice, shaking his head and tutting at Aiden.
It all leads to tragedy, especially women. Am I right, fellow males with penises?
But Johnny wasn't paying attention to his incredibly stupid misogyny at that moment. He was remembering a reflective, gold-flecked shape moving in the darkness of the Brooks family basement.
What is it?
A shape he had chalked up in the harsh light of day as his own reflection was now perfectly described back to him by a complete stranger. Look, man, I'm not gonna sit here and be lectured by a guy who thinks tits feel like sandbags full of wet coins or whatever the fuck you Reddit basement-dwelling self-suckers post about on there. Aiden snapped back at Gordy.
Why are they wet? Why are they wet? Why?
Aiden snapped back at Gordy, who took a step away from him, clutching his papers to his chest. Gordy, Johnny interrupted, causing both the teen and the other man in quotation marks to turn towards him all at once. Mm-hmm. Do me a favor and head over to the tree line and see what you can see. Maybe someone from the party took Madeline that way, and that's what Mr. Temple here saw in the dark. Watch your step, Aiden warned him, grimacing at him.
Right.
Gordy responded awkwardly, turning and tromping away through the overbrush towards the edge of the woods.
I'll be back soon after I do some detecting and inspecting.
Once Gordy was out of earshot, Johnny hunkered down to the ground and began to root around in the grass and dirt there. "What are you doing?" Aiden asked, squinting to look through the heavy brush and foliage that separated the ground from them. "Since we arrived, I've been noticing that the ground right below here is kind of shifting weirdly beneath my feet," Johnny muttered out, not looking back up at Aiden as he did, still rooting around in the dirt. "This is the last place where you saw Madeline, isn't it?" Yeah, why?" Aiden asked without a clue what was even going on anymore. "Aha! Figured as much. Take a step back, would you?" He waved Aiden away from where he was standing and then grasped onto something beneath the heavy foliage and yanked upwards as hard as he could. Sure enough, the ground raised up along with his hand, revealing that they had been standing on top of a heavy wooden cellar door that had overgrown with tons of vegetation atop the thick mound of dirt on top of it.
What?
He swung the door up to its full apex and left it, a large metal hinge keeping it from opening any further or falling back in on itself. "What the fuck?" Aiden cried out, staring wide-eyed and mouth agape the entire time. "Looks like a root cellar. Old as shit," Johnny said matter-of-factly, staring down into the black abyss of the hole underneath it. Even the midday sun only illuminated a few stone steps at the top near the door, which disappeared down into the darkness below after only a few feet. "You ever done any spelunking?" Johnny asked with a sardonic grin. "But why did you..." Aiden motioned towards Gordy, who was stumbling around clumsily in the outcropping of vegetation near the forest edge, not paying any attention to what was happening across the field behind him. "I just don't like him, to be honest," Johnny said, taking a step down into the darkness inside the cellar hole. But both Johnny and Aiden were instantly frozen in place at the loud clarion call of a horrific sound from deep inside of the darkness below them. Aiden was shocked into place by what sounded like the howling of harsh, distant, high-pitched wind inside the hole, which he could neither feel nor see, but was loud enough to set his teeth gnashing and his ears ringing all at once. But Johnny recognized it immediately. It wasn't the roaring wind down inside of the deep abyss below them, but the violent, howling scream of a woman in her death throes that had followed him from within his blood-red soaked nightmares. To be continued.
Is it her?
You'll have to wait to find out.
Gordon G. Gordon is Pavlov Flinch and Myrtle Smelly's baby.
Yes. Yes. Also, isn't that the name of the kid from that episode of Star Trek?
G. Gordon. That's J. Gordon. J. Gordon.
J. Gordon.
Right.
Yeah,
J.
no,
Gordon.
Gordon
okay.
G. Gordon is named that because of Agent Gordon Cole from Twin Peaks.
Okay.
Played by...
I hate both of those kids.
Played by David Lynch, R.I.P.
What the hell?
What the hell?
I'm dead? What the hell?
He died how he lived, being a crazy son of a bitch.
Well, that is the same Gordon G. Gordon from my previous story.
It is.
Oh man, but what happened? But what happened?
But what happened
How did
with
he get
what?
a job?
How did he get a job is a good question.
How did he get past puberty?
How did he not get beat to death by bullies?
I don't know.
Who would be totally justified in doing
That's
so,
the
by
true
way.
mystery of this story.
That's the whole series mystery.
Yeah.
How did he not get killed?
Yeah, nobody cares what happened to Madeline Brooks. They only really want to know how the fuck Gordon G. Gordon's still alive.
I thought it was going to be Durwood. Derwin.
Dev Durwood?
Dev Durwood, yeah.
This is like bad Dev Durwood.
Yeah. Yeah.
I before you said about Lynch, I was going to say that this feels very much like a more horror leaning Twin Peaks. This kind of mystery you're setting up.
Yeah,
so I'm glad you.
It's influenced by like a few things, but like a couple of those things are David Lynch things because that's what I've been imbibing since he passed away.
Yeah, I get that.
What's that movie that I had to watch in film school?
Blue Velvet.
Why would I know that?
Because you know everything about me as my biographer.
Was it Mulholland Drive?
Mulholland Drive. Yeah.
Okay, I
had
do
to-
know everything about
It had to be either Mulholland Drive or Blue Velvet that you watched in film school.
Yeah, I wish it was Blue Velvet. It wasn't. It was fucking Mulholland, goddamn worst movie ever Drive.
I have not seen it.
It's odd.
Like, it's not on streaming anywhere, and I haven't been able to find it for cheap.
It's fine. It's fine. It's just long. It's really fun.
Like, I love
great.
Blue Velvet. Blue Velvet is fucking excellent.
Mulholland Drive is Blue Velvet dialed up by 10.
Yeah.
You think you know what
it's a lot.
you think you know what's going on, and then you hit a point and you're like, I have no fucking clue. Never gone
David,
from like 60 to 0 of understanding in a film so hard.
Like, David Lynch is like really famous for making like confusing, esoteric ass movies and stuff, but like he also has this other side to his stuff that if you give it a chance, that like he will fucking rip your heart out and piss all over it. Like, have you guys ever seen The Elephant Man?
Yeah.
No.
That movie ruined me.
Yeah.
That's the one with the guy with the deformity, right?
Yeah, and it does not pull any of its punches about that man's
ever
life.
seen Dune? That movie ruined me because it sucked.
I like Dune all right.
It was.
I hate to be that
traumatized.
guy, but like if I had the choice of watching Lynch's Dune or the new Dune, I'd watch Lynch's every goddamn time.
Really?
Wow.
The new Dune is so fucking boring, man. Like, and it is so gray and beige.
It does.
Because they're on Dune.
It does reflect the book.
Yeah.
Okay. That doesn't mean it's good.
No, it doesn't.
There
No,
aren't-
it doesn't. But it does reflect the book.
There aren't 45 minutes of like narration in the beginning. So
Love
that's-
narration.
Thousands of years ago, Sir Santa of Claus.
I don't think either of them I would classify as good movies, but
The new dudes they're good.
Yeah,
They're
I like the new Dune.
I don't. Like, I don't think they're bad movies, but I don't want to watch them.
What the hell?
I don't mind the old Dune, but it's a different
We're doing
take on it.
Afterlords.
This is Afterlords. Welcome, everyone.
Oh,
No, that's my story is to be continued, and I did completely fucking phone in spelunking. I'm sorry, everyone. They're gonna spelunk next episode. It's fine.
No, it's fine.
sometimes you gotta phone them in.
Phones exist. Phone it in.
I like the setup to this story.
Thank you.
I think
you.
it's gonna be a good one this season.
We'll see.
Right. Oh, yeah, we will, but not this episode because he's done already. So come back and you can hear from Daranos.
Man, I'm gonna get so much horse shit from not being into the new Dune. Oh well. We'll be back after these messages.
Welcome back, everyone. Did you have a nice audio interlude? I know
We
I
didn't.
did. Sometimes
I
I
don't
just
want to talk about it.
I just phase you out as you argue and play a different tune in my head. Anyway, now
We hardly ever argue. What are you talking about?
Just a little fucking Homer Simpson monkey slamming cymbals together in Rich's head.
to get the podcast back on track, and hopefully no one will end up fired this episode, we're going to head over to Daranos.
Oh, well, that's not off to a great start.
Historically, not good.
A rock
Not a good setup.
for a rock solid 8 pages.
Calling him out right on the show.
Are you short shaming me right now? Are you?
No, 8 is a decent size, I hear.
It matters
Yeah,
what you
well,
do
when-
with the story.
When you're writing fucking upwards of 14 pages, I guess 8's small.
I-
Fucking size.
Look,
queen.
it matters what you do with your 8 pages.
Look, just because
That's
you
what
have
they
your
say.
brain is a gaping maw of slutty looseness doesn't mean that my stories have to be that long.
Sure. Whatever you
Alright.
need to tell
Why-
yourself to sleep. Finally.
Finally. My story this week is called The Mean Queen of Green. A single orc henchman slurped up the glorp of golden hork from the rickety-ass floorboards. His mop was soaked in the stuff. As he heaved the mop up into the bucket, he couldn't help but get curious. He slowly moved the mop to his snout and gave it a whiff. The smell had hints of ozone mixed with walnuts and burnt toast. Or maybe that was the smell of his brain. That was the smell his brain was making as it began to boil inside of its skull casing. The orc's tongue lolled out of his mouth as blood began to pool inside of his eye sockets, which soon gave way like a dam breaking or your mama's panties splooshing vag juice as soon as I give her the old rocker. It's just the shocker, but you do the devil horns instead and play metal solos one-handed with your free hand on your flying V.
Wow.
I don't know what part of that was grosser to me.
You don't like flying Vs?
I love the flying V. How fucking dare you?
How fucking dare you? God damn it, Crocus, shouted the paladin. I told you idiots not to huff this stuff. Sorry, boss, the orc said as he slumped over lifelessly as his skin melted from his bones. As soon as that horrific sight was over, his skeleton went back to mopping. This stuff ain't gonna mop itself after all. All right, let's get out of here, Sid said, turning back to the stairway. As he did, Chickpea followed, but was still focused on the disgustingly fascinating sight in the rooms beyond. As such, she, even being as close to the ground as she was, did not see a single stick laying on the floor. Snap! Whoops, she said dryly. What the fuck is even a stick doing in a basement? Just one stick? It wasn't even there like 2 minutes ago. The hell is with this place, man? Demi Whisper yelled. Not so fast, troll, the paladin yelled, unsheathing his holy sword. All around, orc bouncers and orc toughs and orc musclemen and orc lackeys came. The flamingos heard them rushing down the stairs doing that orc chant they like to do, which with each and every footfall they let out an intimidating hoof in unison like they were trying out for the orc rowing team. Great, Demi said, throwing up her hands. Can we just, pay these guys off or something? I mean, this guy is clearly corrupt and probably calls these orcs racist names behind their backs. No, he doesn't, corrected an orc from the back of the room. He says it right to our faces. If it isn't the fling ding-dongs, the paladin chided. The orc lackeys laughed on cue. If it isn't the corrupt, blackened, gangrenous taint of the law, Sid shot back. Demi couldn't help herself as she stared at the pool of golden liquid still pooled on the floor beyond her. It was like mercury. The torchlight shone off it, making its luster more beautiful the more she gazed upon it. The sound of Sid and the paladin and Chickpea's back and forth slowly began to be drowned out, with what at first was a low hum. Demi kept looking. The hum slowly turned into a vibration. She looked on even as when the vibration began to thrum through her body. The golden glorp almost seemed to be pulsating. She felt herself want to step forward. Everything around her was dulled and she was numb. Finally, as she reached the puddle, she reached out for it. The golden pool shot up in her face, the golden pool shot up in her face in the form of a gaping fanged maw. Instinctively, Demi shot back and fell onto her butt, wincing. But she hadn't moved an inch. She was still standing next to Chickpea, who was doing that thing where you pretend to crank your middle finger up with your other hand, as though it were some kind of crank-operated device and not just your finger. And then Demi snapped. With a swift motion, she unsheathed the flaming sword and ignited it as she held it above her head. She let out a battle cry that even shook some of the more tough orcs and made the less tough orcs piss their loincloths with green piss.
We just learned that orcs piss green piss, everybody. That's true lore.
Because they drank Ecto Cooler out of their mom's teats.
Being an orc sounds pretty sick. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean, you get like 6 dicks and you get to suck on tits, even though they're your mom's. Anyway,
Oh, God.
let's move on.
Yeah, let's move on swiftly.
She leapt into the air like a rabid badger and swung at the first orc she saw. Her sword cleaved the orc from left shoulder down to right hip. As his upper half slurped off his lower half, he let out a soft cry of, "Aw, man." Sid and Chickpea just looked at each other in shock. Chickpea then smiled a huge smile and swung her staff around, slamming it onto the ground. A shockwave knocked most of the orcs back just as thorny vines grew from the boards below. They entangled several henchmen in a painful embrace. Feeding off the green blood that the thorns had drawn from the vines, the vines grew until it was no longer apparent if the vines were snapping or it was the bones of the orcs. But as one orc's corpse twisted around to face Sid, he saw a thick vine twisting its way through the orc's open mouth up through his left eye socket and then out again. God damn, Sid said. He unsheathed socks and put the orc out of his misery by decapitating him. Demi was already halfway through orc minions. She grit her teeth and stood as tall as a 4'8" tall child could stand against a 6'12" orc. And yet the orcs backed up as she stepped forward. One orc lay on the ground dying as Demi dragged the tip of her flaming sword against the floor. It sparked and spat out fire from the friction. She stared down at the henchmen in front of her, moving slowly. As she reached the dying orc, she gave them a slight devilish smile and then plunged the sword straight into his chest. Then, as if she had simply turned on the dial of an oven, her eyes glowed a dark green and the sword erupted in flames, incinerating the orc into a pile of ash and dust. All that was left were 2 eyes on top of a dust pile that blinked twice. Blink, blink! The orcs all
Looney Tunes is shit.
The orcs all turned to look at each other and then ran. Chickpea and Sid began to chase the paladin upstairs. As they reached the club floor, the orcs on the dance floor were oblivious. Even Miss Slaymore, the 12-foot-tall or whatever orc stripper, who was stripping on her sword. She had now changed into a sexy librarian outfit, but was still huge and still hot. Where'd he go? Sid yelled at Chick. I don't know, but I better check Miss Slaymore's dressing room. That's where I would hide, she replied. Cut to City Hall, Grawl City Hall. You mean to tell me that you 3 gabagools sliced up Grawl's only orc-themed gentleman's club and buffet review in broad daylight, and that the Paladins are behind a secret giggledirt manufacturing and distribution network, and that they're infecting the drugs with some kind of sentient T-1000-esque gold goop that's spicier than my mama's pizza spaghetti sauce? Mayor Pizza asked. The mayor had been laying into Demi and Sid and Chickpea for several minutes now, just asking the same question over and over again and slightly changing the phrasing. So's let me get this straight, the mayor went on. There's a cabal of corrupt law enforcement officers within these very city limits who are regulating an undisclosed allotment of illicit narcotics, he went on.
Someone got a thesaurus for his birthday.
He's a mayor now. You gotta beef up your vocab.
That's true.
In the corner, Gunk sat laughing. And you! The mayor turned to his attention to Gunk. What even are you doing here? I didn't call you in here to yell at you. You weren't even there. I know, Gunk said, still laughing, but I wasn't gonna miss this. Keep going, Mr. Mayor. This is more entertaining than when Steve Oracle slam dunked that severed head over his friend Danny in the episode of Family Murders on TGIF. That stands for Thank Grawl It's Fight Day. Get out of here, you Goomba-sized Kazo! Mayor Pizza screamed. I ought to take your badges. We got badges? Chickpea perked up. Metaphorical badges, you literal cunt.
Wow.
Meanwhile, in the future, Ugla and Squib sat around a makeshift fire, frying up some random cans of food they managed to scrounge together after the diner fight from that episode. Axewound lay under a burlap blanket, shivering as she scoochied closer to the fire. So close it almost singed her perfectly sculpted eyebrows. It's fucking cold, she snapped out of nowhere. It's like... Squib licked his finger and held it up in the air. The cool night wind hit it from the east. It's approximately 75 degrees in freedom units, or about 24 C. C standing for commie units, as you may already know.
Get him.
What are you fucking saying right now, hairless desert rat? X shot back. She went to rub her hands together, but then remembered she didn't have one of them. Ugla looked at her and squinted as if seeing through her. Let's see it, Ugla said matter-of-factly. Let's see your tits first, bitch, X shouted.
Wow.
Is she always such a raging C? Squib asked Ugla. C standing for Celsius, of course, he added. Pretty much, Ugla replied. She knelt down next to Axe and gave her a look like a teacher would give a student who wasn't turning in their mandatory at-home slave work. Let's see it, she said firmly. Fuck off, Axe said, but she did as she was asked and moved the blanket. Ugla peeled back the burlap that had been pasted itself against the wet pus that was the end of Axe's right stumpy arm. Axe winced in pain as the sticky material gave way to one of the most infected sights anyone had ever seen. Ooh. This wound was more infected than Yo Mama's crab shack after Bike Week, Daytona 1986. Yo Mama had so many trains ran on her ass that week, she had to take 2 birth controls each morning just in case.
Wow, it's crazy I was born in 1986. Strange.
That's weird. They renamed an entire wing of the hospital in Daytona after her because of how much money she'd spent there that week. I'm sorry, it wasn't the hospital wing. It was the wing of the veterinary hospital. They didn't let that Cankersaurus Rex into a human hospital. Not what with all the livestock diseases she was carrying.
Wow.
Axewound reflexively tried to wrench her arm back, but the sudden movement made the burlap peel off more quickly. The searing pain shot up her stump into her brain like a steel ice pick. Oh, wow, Ugla said, trying to keep her bedside manner. This is the most infected thing I've seen since Squib's mom's pussy after giving birth to him, she said with a small laugh.
Wow.
Damn right, Squib said, proudly puffing out his tiny, weak chest. Ugla covered her nose as the smell of rotting cheese and meat hit her nostrils. She held a hand up to Axe's head. It's amazing you're not delirious right now, she said, turning her hand over to touch her head. It's amazing it's amazing you have not been eaten yet, giant talking burrito, Axe said completely seriously. We need to find something to give her or she'll die like this, Ugla said. Why don't we just, cut that part of her stump off? Stop the infection from spreading further, Sid suggested. And what, Ugla said, keep cutting off parts of her until there's nothing left like she was a pencil and a pencil sharpener? Squib shrugged. He didn't seem too concerned about the Queen of Evil being dead once and for all. I'll cut your pencil off, you little talking packet of mild sauce. How come they only give me a few of you in the bag? I need more of you, don't they know that? Axewound was now flailing around.
She's not wrong.
Mild sauce.
Yeah, I'm not trying to get butt burned, dude.
I'm trying to blow fire straight out my O-ring.
I'm trying to, enjoy my life, not go through it with butt fire.
I love spicy things.
It is good, though, but, yeah, it's a once-in-a-while thing. All right. Calm down. Burrito will get you more packets of sauce or whatever, Ugla reassured. Mild, Axe said, calming down. She lay her head against Ugla's lap. Not fire, mild, she said, and then fell asleep.
Weak.
Days went by as Ugla and Squib both drug Axewound on a makeshift stretcher made out of a derelict hood of a bone car. They used chains to harness the hood of their backs and pulled their dying friend, in quotes, along the desert. Both Ugla and Squib were also feeling the effects of the desert. Thirst and hunger were only a part of their suffering. The heat was unbearable. Finally, on the morning of the third day, they dragged the stretcher up a dune and saw the most amazing sight they'd ever seen. It's real, Ugla shouted as she threw the chains off from around them and ran forward. I'll never take pissing for granted again if they've let this be real, Squib said, following her. As they ran forward, water splashed up from below them. Soon the two were swimming and splashing in a desert oasis that was nestled under a rocky butte. Oh shit, axe wound, Ugla said as she ran to get their dying frenemy. Quickly she brought Axe down and dunked her entire body into the cool, refreshing water. Axe shot up awake, spitting up and coughing water. Burrito! Where? What is this? She stammered. Ugla used a bit of her own magic to seal the wound again, but it was getting harder and harder to keep it sealed. The infection was eating away at her. Why can't you just heal it? Squib said between slurps of cool, refreshing water. I don't know, Ugla admitted. I'm not a cleric, but still, she just can't be fixed? Squib looked around while he splashed his water with face. There, he said, pointing. The cave over there. That must be what's making the oasis. We could use this place as a home base, or, ooh, he got excited. We could make a fort. Yeah, we'll find a bunch of blankets and pillows, and this could be our fort base. Fort Squib, he said, proudly standing up, pretending to plant a flag. No, Ugla stopped him. This is where the vampire said we should head. This must be what he was talking about. Either that or we're just incredibly lucky. I'm still calling it Fort Squib, Squib said defiantly. Can't stop me. Can you walk? Ugla asked a groggy Axe. Yeah, she said, half in delirium. I think so. After filling up their water skins, the three slowly made their way into the cave system. The opening was huge. Hugier than your mama's opening. And by that I mean her opening of her business. Her business being her brothel that she was owner and its sole prostitute, and she also didn't get paid. She just fucked everyone for free. Also, her vaginal opening was like throwing a hot dog down a bowling alley. As they reached the back of the cave, they ran into a massive descent. All three looked down, and Squib began to hawk up a loogie. He then let fly the lug and listened for it to hit the bottom. It never did. That's gonna be a no for me, dog, Squib said to Ugla. Come on, Squib, Ugla reassured him. I'll cast a spelunking spell on us that'll give us +10 to rock climbing. Besides, she went on, if we fall, I'll just catch us and feather float us down. Why don't we just do that last part? Oh, wait a second. Why don't we just do that last part now? Axe chimed in. Yeah, feather float us now, Squib agreed. Don't know how long the float will be, Ugla said. Seems like super far down, and feather float only lasts like 10 seconds. If it wears off before that, you'll catch us, Squib said hopefully. Sure, buddy, Ugla said, patting him on the head. Spelunkus in the trunkus, Ugla recited the ancient magical words. They glowed a bright blue, and that was it. Okay, get climbing, Ugla said. And with that, all three climbed down into the abyss. Squib was weirdly good at climbing, as it were. I guess that makes sense, since goblins live in caves and eat rocks or whatever the fuck. Axe had to stop a few times. Climbing with two hands was hard enough, but she only had one. And she was dying of septic blood toxicity. And she hated climbing. If she still had her powers, she'd fly down, or make some slave orcs carry her down on a litter, and there'd be like caviar and champy and all the mild sauce packets she could ask for. Squib and Ugla reached the bottom first. Axe was still a good 100 yards up or so. Just then, Axe fell as the spell wore off. Fuck, she said. Fuck, she yelled as she slipped and began to fall. Feather floatus this scrotus! Ugla shouted. Just before Axe hit the cave floor, she gently floated down and landed on her back with a sigh. You didn't say the spell would wear off, Axe shouted. Oopsie, Ugla said with a smile. Suddenly, the air in the cave became icy cold. All around them, wisps of magic shot through the cave rocks and crevices. A haunting howl filled the air, followed by a trickling sound of Squib pissing his pants. Oh, what the fuck now? Axe sighed, trying to get up. Woo! Shouted a spooky voice. Fuck off! Shouted Axe back. Oh shit, Ugla said. What? Squib yelled back. It's Ugla said with a gulp. A Nishru! Oh God, no! Squib said, cried out loud. I don't know what that is! It's a creature that eats magic, Axe said bluntly. Oh, phew, Squib said in relief. Here I thought I was going to get eaten by a wolf or a dog man or a wolf man or a dog wolf. Yeah, but we may be in trouble, Ugla said, pointing to Axe. Don't fret, the voice said. A misty form gathered into a semi-human-shaped cloud. I'm not a Nishru. I'm a nice shrew. To be continued.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Perfect. No notes.
I was worried they were gonna get eaten by a dumb wrong.
Little known monster, a dumb wrong.
Oh man. It must be so nice to be able to be like, I'm fucking done with these people for a little while. I'm going to move to the next part of the story.
Yeah, it's kind of like I kind of gave up on like writing like a contained story.
Yeah,
like I don't care anymore. You know, like it just we need to write like 50 of these things, right?
Yeah.
So like
Do whatever you want.
I'm just gonna keep kicking the can down the road.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. Like I have decided that the plans that I've made, I'm gonna just kind of throw them out a little bit, and then I'm just gonna do what feels right every week.
Yeah, you have the plan in the back of your head, but you don't need to fucking fulfill the plan every just as long as you're marching toward it. I guess, right?
I have sort of the opposite thing going on where, like, I've decided that my story as it's planned is going to end exactly when it's going to end. I don't care if there's, like, 30 episodes left of this bitch. It's going to end.
That's interesting.
And then I'm going to just do other stuff.
It's almost like there's no wrong way to do this.
Yeah, it's almost like we made up the way to do this.
Yeah,
it doesn't
it's like-
matter.
Yeah.
Totally made up rule.
And whatever we do, someone is going to have a fucking problem with it anyway, so we might as well just do it.
Everybody attack Rich for that. Don't remember what I said about a movie. Attack Rich about
deflect.
It's a good movie.
Oh man, yeah, I love that.
Whichever one we were talking about.
Yeah.
It's good.
He was talking about Breakfast at Tiffany's.
We weren't talking about...
Yep. I remember.
And how it was wrong that Mickey Rooney was wearing yellowface.
Yeah, that's really fucked. Anyway, that was a really fucking funny...
Blackface.
I think it's equal.
Yeah, it's pretty
bad.
It's pretty
It's pretty
equal,
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We haven't had as unbelievably blatant of a blackface in modern media the same way we have with yellowface, though.
Yeah.
So there is that.
Yeah, that's true.
So
that
we
one stuck
don't
around
really
a
see
little
how
longer.
bad blackface can get because we don't watch any of those old movies where they did it earnestly.
We weren't around for that.
I suppose the only one in modern media in terms of remembrance is probably Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, but that was done so that it could point out the problem
What was the name
with
of that movie? What was the name of that movie where that guy pretended to be black so he could get into a black college?
Oh, Soul Man.
Soul Man. Yeah, that's
That was the end of that
fucked.
guy's career.
Yeah.
He was like, whoops, shouldn't have done that.
Whether that's within recent memory or not has a lot to do with your age, I think.
It was 1986 when your mama went to Bike Week.
Yeah, and when I was born, coincidentally.
Were you born in Daytona, Florida, by any chance?
I was born in a gutter.
He didn't necessarily have to
Yes,
have been born
Daytona,
there,
Florida.
just conceived there.
Do you have a yearning to go back to your gutter home, Daytona, Florida?
No, I went to Florida for fucking Disney World, and it was like being outside there is a miserable fucking experience.
What are you talking
It is
about?
so.
Why?
It's the humidity. I wasn't used to that
it's
level
hot,
of humidity.
yeah.
It was like
No, yeah,
walking
it's-
through fucking pea soup.
It's subtropical, man. That's fucking like lizards and shit live there. It's crazy.
All right, this is
Also,
After
the
Lords again.
people.
This is after we're doing lizards. Yep.
Also the people.
I'm glad somebody caught that.
It was just rattling around in my subconscious for a second there.
No, that story.
it was
That
great.
story, as always, was fucking hilarious. I loved it.
All right, good. I didn't know if it was funny. I can't tell anymore. I don't know what's up.
I
with
feel
this.
It's always funny. So all of them are always
Okay.
funny and always good. On that note,
Except when they're not.
the second part of the episode is now finished. Come back for the third, where we'll definitely keep the quality up. Welcome back, everyone, to the conclusion to our episode. It's my turn to read. A warning, I think this is going to be quite divisive as a story to the audience and maybe the hosts. We'll see.
It was quite divisive for me and Josh because it's 14 fucking pages long.
Yeah, no one's ever done 14 pages before, like last week.
Who did that?
I'm pretty sure you did, didn't you?
Who? What do you mean?
It's in the past, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't exist anymore.
Things change, Rich. Keep up.
Okay, alright.
Get with the program.
Get real.
Fucking get real.
We're bringing Get Real back, everybody.
It's
Get on
coming
board.
back, dude.
Get on board or
Rich-
get real.
Rich used it unironically today. It's coming back.
The title of my story this week for the Omniverse is Petey the Pedophile's Big Adventure Day. No, it's not really.
All right. Well, I was gonna understand why it was gonna be divisive. Like,
I was like,
Where's this going? It's Blob Day Afternoon.
that's incredible. That's a great movie, by the way.
It's good,
Jeff
it's
would
good.
probably hate it, but it's good.
I do like Dog Day Afternoon. It's a great.
It's
movie.
great, right? Yeah, it's a good movie.
Don't,
Hello.
Don't reference a thing earlier. Don't. Go ahead, Rich.
Hello, I'm Dr. Lee Wen, director of the Omnizone project. Oh yes, I'm aware that the author left us on a cliffhanger last episode and that he didn't even write an outro for me because Kevin Cole was here and he probably was afraid that he was running out of time or something. But let me take the opportunity to fill you in on what was happening in part 1 of our story. A mining crew were tricked into being led into a trap in a mine complex by a man inhabited by a parasitical race that are trying to take over the galaxy called the Omni. So, with 2 completely synergistic prompts like spelunking and fortresses, we can be assured that a part 2 will follow, right? I mean, surely the author wouldn't spurn this slam dunk of a chance over some sense of pride that this is somehow too easy, right? I mean, what sort of tale would you tell in its stead? What depravity would you plumb in the names of comedy?
Is this podcast become your like psychiatrist or?
I was gonna say, like, Sigmund Freud is like, tell me about your mother, Rich.
What sort of fan service bullshit would be worth deliberate self-sabotage? The bounty hunter Tabitha Antos set her shuttle to dock with the strip club Starship Atmospheres. Now, I haven't written this, but what I imagine the sign to look like is 2 boobs with Saturn's rings around them.
All right, I'm ready to go.
All right, this is so hot. I'm cooking.
Once the docking was complete, she stepped out into the concourse and into the main bar, assailed by smells of sweat and chicken wings and lube. She took a long
strip clubs.
That strip clubs. She took a long look around and also a long look up and down some of the hanging schlong that was on display. They'd put on boy strippers too, which was honestly so considerate. Not that she didn't love boobs too. I mean, she was an appreciator for all the flesh, even the cloaca and blue tits of those bird-like strippers from whatever you want to call this planet for the joke's sake, Rich. Definitely not a bookmark that you need to go back to because you're not a lazy writer. Well, that backfired. Kinda like your mother gets backfired on every one of her partner's birthdays and unbirthdays.
Whoa!
Unbirthday.
Yes.
Every one of her partners, like plural?
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean...
Backfired?
Hey, it happens if you don't enema up, you know?
Tabitha noticed that she was drawing stares, so she strode over to the bar where an amorphous blob was pouring drinks. Hey, Slick, where's the action? The blob shone a violent shade of orange. Slick? Is that some sort of racial stereotype? Not all blobs are slick, you know.
Damn.
Are you, though? Tabitha smirked. The orange shade reverted to its usual violet. Well, yeah, but don't assume it makes a formless mass out of you and me.
Oh my god.
All right. I think we know who's getting fired this episode.
I don't think we can. It's too good.
Tabitha lifted her two hands. The last thing she needed was to get into it with this dingus. She had a mission to do and little time to get it done. All right, calm down, sloppy, messy Raphael. I was called here for a job.
Sloppy, messy Raphael.
That's an in-date reference.
That's... I think 3 people get that joke, and they're all right here.
That's the audience that we write for on this show.
That's the only audience
true.
I write for. I was called here for a job, not an afternoon school special. Where's the blob father? He pointed a tentacle to a roped-off area where 2 4-armed Vernax bodyguards stood holding a laser Mac-10 in each hand.
Damn.
That's 8 Mac-10s. Hand hovering.
That's
over...
like Mac 80.
Mac. Hand hovering over the tube hanging from her belt, she walked to the back of the room, past the red velvet curtain to where 4 men. It's not 4 men, it's 5 people, sat around a table playing cards. The room was as fancy as the attendees deserved. One was a pirate-looking hulk of a man who wore an eye patch and looked like he was one more woman or non-white main character in his media away from an aneurysm.
Damn, I wish.
Alongside him was a robot called Peg-13, known in these circles as Peggy, who was applying oil to her mouth vent with a dipstick.
Wait. There's like a little like a tiny little
tiny little dipstick.
Yeah.
She was a sex bot from the Mammary Mart who had achieved sentience during sex and killed a client. Subsequently, she hated all men and machine men. To be honest, who could blame her, am I right? And only took
That's how I want to go.
and only took jobs where she could kill male clients. Next was a monkeyan called Reginald Hoofsetter, who had cybernetic implants and wore a monocle and a top hat. There was also
Did you say monkeyan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's a
from
real race.
Thundercats?
Yeah. They're a race now. There was
Is that what Mumra is?
No, the
Yeah.
dude's name is Monkeyan.
Monkeyan.
He's a monkey man.
Yeah. He has a shield that can spit spiked balls, which is weird. There was also a flamboyant Melmacian, who she instantly recognised as the noted 80s celebrity, but legally distinct, Graydon Chumway.
Thank God whoever owns Alf won't sue us.
It is unbelievably fucked up that I knew from Melmacian.
Yep, I did too. They're real. They're real race, dude.
He sat smoking a fat cigar that he lit with $100 space dollar bill before hurriedly snuffing the flame out and putting it back carefully inside his pocket. There's no more of that 80s money coming his way.
Yeah.
Lastly, there was a dog sitting upright with a knife in his jaws that Tabitha identified as Muttsack, the canine bounty hunter. He wore a t-shirt... He wore a t-shirt with the "Hang in there, baby" cat on it, but instead of a branch, it was hanging by a noose because he hated cats.
I knew it. All right, I need a shirt with mutt sack on it.
Muttsack wearing the shirt.
Wearing the shirt on the shirt.
The Monkeyan was the first to stand up and greet her. Well, well, a new face will wonders never cease, he said in a voice more velvety than a mink's taint. Tabitha raised an eyebrow. She had been in many rooms like this, where men felt the need to subtly remind women that they were new or inexperienced. I'm not new, you just haven't seen me. Same as the prey I hunt. Pretty fucking useless for a bounty hunter to be known, isn't it? The only one I don't know here is Non-Schlong Silver over there. The pirate stood and glared at her with his one good eye. I can only assume there's another pirate in here, because I know you ain't talking to Captain J.T. Topperbottom like that. Topperbottom! He looked around, but lacked the peripheral vision to go all the way around, so had to turn back the other way to complete the 360. Girlie, you best hope you don't hear of me again, lest I keel-haul you to my ship and scare off space sirens.
As a one-eye-haver, that hit a little too close to home. This is divisive as hell.
Graydon Chumway pulled his aviator shades down to rest on one of his warty pimples on his snout. You guys need to chill out. You newbies always got to be making a name for yourselves. I used to tell the interns back when I had my syndicated television show. Peggy rolled her eyes back like a slot machine and played a compressed MIDI file of snoring. Not this again, Chumway. Your basic by-the-numbers show was mercifully put down, like all organic life should be.
Nice.
Muttsack barked, getting low to the ground, his fur standing on end. Careful, strange-smelling biped. Muttsack would turn teeth on you. Are you offended by my choice of words, Boba Pett? At least he was famous.
No. I see why this is divisive.
Are you sure these are bounty hunters and not comedic geniuses?
At least he was famous. You aren't even the most famous dog bounty hunter, Peggy sighed.
That's true. Dog. There's dog.
Dog. The Monkeyan stood and put up placating hands. Fellows, there's no need to fight. We all have common interests here, though various degrees of quality and outcome. Do you know I've killed targets in 18 different ways? Was one of them with this story? Tabitha shook her head. I once slit a trafficker's throat with a blunt box cutter, and his death gurgles were more interesting than your platitudes, believe me. The room quickly...
You gotta break off the razor. There's another one behind it.
No, then they wouldn't feel it, right?
That's true. You gotta make them feel it.
The room quickly descended into an argument, each bounty hunter shouting or barking over the other to assert dominance. Only one of them was barking, but you know. Tabitha again reached for the cylinder hanging from her belt, and she saw others making similar moves. Muttsack next to her threw his head back and threw his knife into the air so he caught the handle, ready to shank anyone stupid enough to come close. But then he noticed a strange tail to his side trying to flank him. Tail! Always when I'm busy, but not this time, my nemesis.
Oh my god, I love Nutsack.
He's too fucking smart.
He dropped the knife and snapped at it, but it darted away from him, so he chased it round and round until he was dizzy and needed to lay down. Oh, get you. One day, he howled.
The ultimate prey, tails.
What's all this? Said a thick, resonating voice from the back of the room. Every one of the assassins stopped and turned to face the gelatinous form of the Blobfather, Gloopy de Gleppy.
Oh my fucking god.
Just when you thought Boopy de Beppy was out of your head, Gloopy de Gleppy is here.
I gotta go back to bed.
He slithered to the end of the table, protuberant arms wobbling as he did. I called yous here to work togethers, not kill each others. Now sit down! Each of them took a seat at the table, eyeing each other carefully as they did, but with most of their attention focused on the host out of respect. They all knew that Gloopy didn't like perceived lack of respect. The last man who dared not to pay the proper attention to the Blobfather was still being digested in his green insides, fizzing bones slowly floating around in jelly.
Ew.
As the slug-like being took his place, he looked around the table. "Thank yous alls for coming. I know some of yous pretty well. Others have been recommended to me by various parties, but all have done work for me in the past, even if anonymously. I take that loyalty seriously. All of yous know I'm a pretty serious globular life form." As he talked, he accidentally spit up a femur, then quickly pushed it back into his torso. "Sorry about that. I wouldn't have called your markers in unless there was a need to. There's a job I need yous to do for me in the Space Vegas Nebula on Zax and Pisney's old stomping ground before those Dukes of Lead destroyed his life's work." Tabitha felt the glare of Captain Topperbottom on her and turned to face his monacular disapproval. She put a silent finger up to him to wait, then undid her top pocket and then pulled a fake middle finger from it.
Yeah!
The vein in his head pulsed. "A thought just crossed my mind," Graydon Chumway said. Peg 13, or Peggy, looked up from the metal nail she was filing with a small belt sander attachment.
Is that because of your rating system? Is that why?
She's Peggy
Is that because
13.
that's how you guys rate shit?
No,
I've been thinking that the entire episode, that's why it was named that.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Humie is HUM13.
Right.
She's Peg
Yeah. Right.
13.
Because she pegged.
Yeah.
Peggy
Yeah,
13.
What a
This is
lonely
right,
journey that must have been. "You're lucky you're not a cat, lady," Graydon went on. "After Disneyland went bye-bye," I keep saying Gordon, the whole sector... Gordon.
Just say, it's him, right? Like, it's fucking him.
They're not going to listen this far into the episode anyway. So.
After Disneyland went bye-bye, the whole sector became a free market and lots of casinos sprung up. Nebula York, the Cosmopolitan, Caesar's Planet. But those are part owned by yous guys, or our employers. So what's to steal in Space Vegas? "The Void Vault," Gloopy said, and watched as their shocked faces caught up with their minds. Reginald, it's auto-corrected it to regional. Reginald Hofstetter scoffed. "The Gambling Commission's kickback fortress? You'd have to be madder than Madeline McMad, runner of the Miss Mad World, to attempt that." Topperbottom lifted a head.
Wow.
There's like 50 jokes in there. I don't even know how to fucking parse that out.
Topperbottom tilted a head, squinting with his one good eye. "I'm confused. Surely the winner would be considered madder." "Oh no, sir. Madeline hates losing," Reginald laughed. Stupidest joke of the episode.
So good.
Gloopy stared, and the conversation died down. "I can't very well hit all the other good flemmers now, can I? Think about it. All the casinos, legit businesses, credit unions, they all pay up the chain to the commissioners. How much money do you think that place takes in taxes in a day? Now imagine if there'd been some sort of armoured shuttle union problem arranged for the last 6 months. Imagine how much cashola there'd be sitting in wait." 17.2 billion space bucks. Peggy played a tinny whistle noise. That'd be... That would be enough cash to buy a multinational special social media organisation to piss out your own sad fascist brain rot, but not enough to kick your obvious ketamine addiction or keep a relationship together because of your ketamine-induced erectile dysfunction. Exactly, Gloopy nodded. Or maybe his neck just wasn't sturdy enough to support his gelatinous head. "Now, goes rest up. I've reserved suites for you all, and one of the small parks for Muttsack. To get tomorrow, we plan the heist of the millennia." Captain J.T. Topperbottom had no intention of sleeping. He had rum-induced heartburn and murderous thoughts on his mind. And as he sauntered down the hall of the residential level to Antos's room, Sorry, hiccup. He pulled a pistol from his holster and prepared for a difficult evening. The door opened easily, his lock-picking hook easy able to deal with the ship's outdated security measures, and tiptoed inside, thankful for not being the full pirate stereotype and having a peg leg too. He had gotten no further than 3 feet from the doorway when a hot red blade was ignited under his chin. Days passed. I would have gelded a man sneaking into my room in the dark, but the hobbling gave you away. You've gotten slow, old man, she whispered from behind him. A nice disguise, by the way. Did they run out of village people costumes at the Spirit Halloween you went to? Well done on letting Lionel set up your alias, top or bottom. He pushed the blade with a cybernetic arm and grabbed her other arm, throwing her across the suite, where she crashed into the sofa. You'll want to talk, Tam. Tabitha Antos. Subtle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I knew it.
You picked the closest name to yours and an anagram. You're like a dime store Riddler. Tamiya Santo disengaged the laser katana and switched on the suite's lights. It had been 5 years, and still it shocked him not to see a dirty old gym sock on her hand. Hey, I like the name Grissom. What the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be rounding up the rest of General Clamphand's old Harvester Technomancer followers. I am. Grissom Graves put his taped-up Duke pistol away and flipped his eye patch. Apparently, someone working on the Blobber Nostra.
Oh my god.
How many gelatinous mafia jokes can he get out?
I gotta go.
Is still carrying on the work of he whose corpse must be urinated on. Before you ask, yes, I spoke to Stoker 2 days ago. Heath is still running on low power, holding both the Technomancer and Dutz' power inside of him. Now what are you doing here? I got word from Tabor. People are going missing in the colonies on the outer rim of New Ithia. People just vanishing without a trace. Too many to be kidnappings. I heard Gloopy de Gleppy had been operating in the area despite our efforts, so I decided to stop my mission and go check him out. Grissom sat back and smiled. What'd Lionel have to say about that, you going off the mission plan? He bought that laminator for a reason, you know. But the smile didn't last, and Tamiya's face screwed up. She sobbed into her hands, and Grissom felt lost suddenly. He didn't know how to comfort her, and for such a smoking hot ninja that would have made Chris Claremont jizz in his pants, she was a real ugly crier.
It's Lionel who's missing.
Tam? I don't know where he is, Gris. I think he might be dead, she sobbed. He went off on his own to investigate the disappearances, because all the other dukes were on assignment. He's been gone for weeks. Grissom stood, a panic setting in him that made his legs shake. The thought of losing his brother. He steeled himself, did as he always did, and used every emotion to fuel his most useful one, blinding rage.
Yeah, the best one!
Why in the blue hell is this the first time I'm hearing about this, Tam? She lifted her face and raised an eyebrow. Geez, I wonder why. I thought the Waco kid over here might escalate a standoff. You've got like a higher body count than the Black Death or the average listener's mother. I wanted this to have some sort of finesse so we could get my partner, the father of our kids, home safe. With your trademark decapitations and Looney Tunes fight scenes, Grissom scowled. We're both going to get him back, together. If there's one thing that little pissant taught me, it's that we can do anything if we team up. The next morning, the Blobfather sat the team down to explain the job. It was complicated, with many intricate parts and complex plans, and if this were a visual medium, oh god, wouldn't that be sweet? I would have written a montage of Mutsack and Peggy building a bomb, Grissom and Graydon Chumway going over some blueprints, a static shock of your mother getting banged by 3 guys because that means that maybe 3 people in the universe think she has any worth, Tamiya training with Reginald Hoofsetter.
Damn.
What? I'm sorry, what? Your mother getting what? I don't know what you're talking about, man. Get your delusional mind out of the gutter. This is a family show.
Yeah.
It's a Christian
Says
podcast.
says a lot that you would bring that up and he never mentioned it.
I didn't even say anything.
Yes, you know who you are.
This is a family show. Admittedly, that family might be the Mansons, but you just take things too far. Anyway,
Yeah.
to avoid a largely expositional scene, imagine we have the Globfather providing voiceover whilst these events are happening, okay? So you get a gradual reveal of the plan rather than giving it away up front, which is why your mother's dates don't last longer than 10 minutes. That, and I've heard she could suck a golf ball up a hosepipe with those DSLs, God bless her.
God, she got to be good at something, am I right?
As you all know, the Void Vault is not only a money storage centre, but a secure facility for contraband in the sector. As such, it's a fortress. Security droids, impenetrable automated defences, regular interplanetary checks, and a generator that could power a planetoid. To get into their vaults, the first thing we're going to do is get into the building with little to no fuss. No easy feat, unless you consider the logic-breaking mechanics and all-around stupidity of robotic law enforcement. Reginald Hoofsetter pushed the crate out of the purloined delivery vehicle and down to the front of the Void Vault, catching sight of Peggy walking up the street towards him. She was garbed in a long dress and headscarf that hid most of her robotic features. Those that were bare was painted in a flesh tone that was in danger of peeling off at any second. She pushed a pram.
How to not use acrylic paint on metal.
She pushed a pram towards the droids, and one of them stopped her. "Business here, madam," it demanded as the other scanned the contents of the pram. "Well, I'm here to make a complaint about something that was confiscated from me in one of the casinos." Peggy hid her face behind a fan. "What is the item in question?" Droid 1 asked her. "It's an item of a personal nature. They thought the buzzing in my bag was a bomb, but it was just my flap flipper 5000.
Wow.
Flipper!
A lady shouldn't have to explain her sexual needs." The droid held a hand up.
True.
"All right, enough. Disgusting biologicals." Reginald pushed the crate up to the front entrance to stand in line behind Peggy. He looked at his watch impatiently. "What an cute child. I am unsure whether he is naturally hairy or if the dog next to him is shedding." The droid alongside her shuddered. My apologies, madam, but there are no dogs allowed in the Void Vault." Peggy nodded sincerely. "But, sir, my son was born with terrible human deformities, and Fido here is his guide dog." I do not know enough about human disabilities to know if that is a thing." The droids looked at each other. The second one shrugging. "Well, miss, excuse me, sirs, I have many jobs to do today. Let's stop grab-arsing and get back to it, shall we?" Reginald shouted in a huff, looking at his watch a further time. The droids rushed the mother through and asked the monkey why he was delivering to the front lobby. "Well, that's what the order says, chum. Front lobby, Void Vault." Reginald showed the droids the work order. "That is highly illogical, but would it be more illogical to send the delivery to the wrong side of the complex and hence the wrong address?" Droid 2
That's the
said.
question.
Droid 1 shrugged. "I am not a postal droid, Lewis. I do not know."
Lewis? His name's Lewis?
He sighed. "Just go through." Reginald lifted the giant crate with his monkey strength and hopped through the main door. The front lobby was huge and pristine, though drab like any other government building. On the other side of the room, queuing to speak to someone at the desk, she eyed the security bots. On the other side of the room, queuing to speak to someone... I don't know what I've written here. I've written half a sentence.
Do it all the time. I know.
The front lobby was huge and pristine, though drab like any other government building. She joined a queue to speak to someone at the front desk and eyed the security bots rotating their head units across the room to assess threat. "This isn't going to work," she whispered. "This facility must have an auto backup of some sort." "Baitbot, have some faith in our boss man. Our roles are clear. We've got to get Tabitha and Topper Bottom into the vaults, whilst you and I disable whatever security they have, and Mutsack and Reggie act as crowd control." It's that simple, huh? She said. In front of her, a goat man, a Klarnan, turned to her almost dreamily. Were you talking to me, madam? He said. His miner's uniform was dirty and ripped. No, I was talking to my child, Peggy said, trying to remain as incognito as a painted, flesh-toned robot could. Behind her, a four-armed, violet-skinned Vernac stepped forward to join the line. Reginald pushed the crate further into the room to a side throughway alongside the desks, only to be confronted by a security droid. Delivery for your boss. Why did you bring the package this way? The droid scanned the label, which Reginald had quickly swapped. Droids at the front told me to bring it through. Something about the back door malfunctioning, Reginald said. Though it's none of my concern anymore, dear fellow. I just need you to take this off my hands. As soon as you scanned it, this became your problem. The droid seemed flustered. But, wait, this is awkward, he called after the monkey and as he left him with the large crate. I cannot leave my post. Please, sir. He hung his head. How inconvenient. I will have to store this behind the desks in order to not leave my post. Hoping that there are no items in here that could lead to a catastrophic set of circumstances due
This
to...
is Batman too. This is Batman and Joker.
Due to our current money storage concerns. He opened up a door and pushed the crate inside to occupy a space behind the staff at the front desks. As soon as the door was reshut, Tam and Grissom pushed the crate open from the inside. As they did, 3 other droids emerged from a kitchen in the back with a birthday cake and started singing. Happy! Tam ignited the sword and instantly hacked a counter droid's head clean off. Which flew...
Fucking Ocean's 11 as fuck, dude.
Which flew off and landed in the birthday cake her friends were bringing out for her.
Aww.
The candles were extinguished and the song instantly stopped. Now, Peg! Peggy discharged a massive EMP that swept through the central offices, making every security and counter droid suddenly slump forward. Looks like Gloopy was right. This frequency buffer prevented me from being affected, she said, expositionally.
I was going to ask, how?
Oh, I love the synergy.
This place isn't any sort of fortress, Tamia whispered, and she was right. Tam and Grissom passed around the guns from inside the crate, and Reggie and Mutsack started working the crowd, forcing the patrons down to lie flat on the floor.
How is the dog holding the gun in his mouth?
Yep. Graydon and Peggy came through to the counters to work the release on the safe. In seconds, the door to the vaults flung itself open, much to their utter surprise. I don't want to say this was easy, but normally there's more than one way to skin a cat, and I would know if you looked at my nutrition app.
Nice.
Graydon looked at Tam and Grissom's. Something's amiss here, people. Grissom nodded. We get what we came for, then we get out. No heroics, no excessive violence. By the numbers. He gave a look to Tamia and she nodded. They went through the vault door into the room beyond. Wasn't that guy a pirate before? Mutsack said.
I was going to say, is he still a pirate outfit?
Mutsack said to a bemused Reginald. As soon as Tamia stepped into the vault, the door slammed shut behind them, engulfing them in darkness. Then she could feel a breeze on her face, a deep rot tinging the air. She ignited the katana, both for light and because this place felt just so wrong. The walls, the flooring, everything had changed. She saw Grissom look around with the same dumbfounded look on his face, and he turned back to the vault door where a solid cave wall now stood. Teleporter. We've been caught with our dicks out, Tam. How humiliating. It's so cold in here, Tam joked. But there was no smile on her face. Do you smell that? Grissom had already pulled his guns from the holsters and put his hat back on. Smells like death. But we're the fucking shit at killing death, ain't we, kid? Let's go find our man, Tamia said. Mutsack cocked a leg at the counter until he realised Reginald had lifted his gun. His eyes shot to something behind them. The Vernacs and the Klarnan in the crowd of patrons were rising, along with a small insectoid. Reginald levelled his shotgun. Get back down, gentlemen, or I will blast you full of so many holes your mother would run out of ideas to fill them with, practised though she is. There is no need...
What about the flapper 4000?
Flat flipper. There is no need for fighting, the Vernac said in a monotone, and Mutsack eyed the name on his ripped overalls. Blind. The Karnan, labelled Gallius, walked towards Reginald. Our master, the Omni, the one in many. He merely wishes to talk, to understand your position. He kept approaching despite the Monkeyin's warning. Mutsak whined as he retreated until their backs were against the wall. My position will always be on tippy top, good fellow, Reginald sneered as he unloaded the shotgun in the Clarnon's face. The others on the floor screamed at the noise, and if Mutsak had fought too, he would have too. The goatman Gallius did not fall, and he simply straightened and turned towards Reggie again. His face filled back in, an oil of black swirling to restore him, and when the vortex was finished, Gallius was whole again. I understand your position now, he bleated, and the 3 miners lifted their arms to the 4 assassins. Evil begets evil. The Omni will be fed. Swirls of tendrils of black oily filth stretched out from their arms, like a hentai appreciator's wet dream.
Oh no, that's weird. I hate that.
It surrounded and wrapped the foursome, creeping towards their faces, then becoming liquid to pour into them through mouth and nostril and ear. And as Mutsak whined in protest, the light faded from his vision and was replaced with black.
No! Mutsak, no!
Mutsak!
You gotta warn people about Mutsak!
After 2 days in the cave network they found themselves in, Tamia could feel herself slipping. She could hear Hijoki's voice in her head pushing her on, demanding more from her, as she always did in times of stress. Yeah, all right, father, she muttered. You okay, Tam? Grissom turned back, and she nodded, but then decided truth was better. I think I'm seeing and hearing things. The lack of sleep, the thirst. We're going to die down here, aren't we, she said. Maybe. Graves pulled himself through the next passage into a small chamber, brushing slime and grease onto his slacks, then reaching back to pull Tamia through. But we go on all the same, don't we? As Tamia came through to the chamber, the katana reflected its red light off. Nothing. The cave chamber was huge. The red barely penetrating the dark, which is how your small ineffective wieners must feel going into a woman. Yeah, you. You know which one of you I mean.
I mean, what are we on, page 12 right now? So.
She took another step, then felt something graze her foot. A small fabric scrap, a miner's uniform. A patch on its arm from the Blue Raven Salvagers, the company she had worked for when she was bonded to Hijoki. As she read the name tag, she gasped, then threw it to Grissom. He caught it and read it. A.K. Santo. Any relation? He asked. Sorry, that I didn't even bother doing the voice there. Not in this reality, she replied. This is fucking weird, Grissom. As they continued, the light seemed to start reflecting back at them, illuminating a vast room of something ahead of them, the walls growing thinner into a bottlenecked corridor. She looked back at Grissom, who cocked the hammers on his laser pistols, even though that wouldn't be functional at all. It just looked cool.
I mean, sometimes it just needs to look cool. You don't need to make it make sense.
Yeah. He nodded. It was a trap, but what else could they do? Then they finally saw what was reflecting the light and understood what that the cavern had not gotten thinner, but the walls were thicker, with bodies, thousands of them, hung up on the wall by vast cables that seemed to be draining something. The breeze that they had been experiencing was no breeze at all, but the consistent and synchronised breathing of thousands of souls on life support.
What the ghost in the hell shit is this?
Tamia took another step and tripped, Grissom catching her before she fell. Tam, Grissom said, his eyes wide. She followed his gaze to the floor, where the broken, destroyed chassis of Heath was split open, as if something had crawled out from him.
No!
Oh, it's been so long. The voice was still as oily and slick, dripping with malice. You never call. You never write. So I decided to send you an invitation. In the corner of the cave, a green-cloaked figure sat wearing the burgundy doublet of Doots and holding a long war hammer. His twisted ram horns were even more gnarled and malformed. He was surrounded by listless puppets, a giant crocodile man, robots, an arachnid with an eagle shirt on. Go birds.
Go birds!
Various plasmoids, a woman seemingly made of water, all hooked up and feeding him their life force. And in his lap lay Lionel, eyes wide and conscious. He looked up at them in abject fear. No. No. Run. What do you want, cumbucket? Grissom growled. We killed you once, we can do it again. I want what I've always wanted. Every single thing. Well, it's good thing I always bring a housewarming gift, Grissom said. He wafted open his duster to reveal a small, tactical nuclear device the size of his palm. Courtesy of Ludwig Squidlord. He held the detonator in his hand, but was assailed by the tentacles of the technomancer as they sliced through him, tearing him apart like a knife through Elon Musk's shrimpy ketamine chode.
Don't put a joke there. What the fuck?
This is terrible, but that was great.
Tamia
I don't know how to feel.
Tamia pounced on the detonator, and as the tentacles turned her to pulp and ripped her to shreds, she gave Lionel one final wink and hit the button, incinerating them all. No, sir, I'm afraid not. 4982 was almost viable, but... I understand, sir, but... Time is what we need, sir, and I was assured I would have that. He cannot expect miracles. The Omnizone is infinitesimally large, growing at an exponential rate, and the precise conditions he expects... I understand. I'll recalibrate, try again, but I must have time. Thank you, sir. Oh, hi, it's Dr. Lee Wen again. Wait, you heard that, didn't you? Fuck. Mm-hmm. I should have checked you over before I answered that call. Between us, are you learning from these stories? Are you taking their meaning, understanding? I feel like I'm wasting our time here and there's not much of that left. You don't understand, do you? I mean, you will. You just need to remember one thing here. We're all prisoners. You, me, even him. It's what we're prepared to do to get out of it that really... Wait, someone is coming. We'll talk soon. The end.
That was great!
What the fuck are you cooking, sir?
That was like Bioshock as fuck, dude.
I said I wasn't going to do...
That's fucking crazy.
That was great. I don't like that everyone I love is dead, but gotta break.
Well, everyone we love is dead in that particular part of the Omnizone.
It's infinite. Yeah. So there's another. Yeah, I know.
But are they?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm not gonna cry. Shut up.
And obviously, I baited everyone with the fact that I wasn't doing a sequel to last week's story when.
But they were there. Yeah, they were the bank dudes.
Mm-hmm.
What's fucked up, man? How dare you lie to me?
Yeah, you're a fucking liar.
Weird synergies, same strip clubs.
Yeah.
Elon Musk.
Middle finger.
Yeah.
There's always a little bit of synergy happening.
There always is. The hive mind works. I wrote all that today because I have not been firing on all cylinders for the last week. So
for good reason.
But I wrote all that today, and I was unsure whether or not the quality was there. But
it was.
Yeah.
It's great. That was a great story.
Cool.
I love the end. I love it.
Yeah, that was fucking... Like, the ending had... If you hadn't have been inserting jokes into it, which really caught us off guard, I think Josh and I would have been mostly silent, shocked into silence.
Yeah.
But Oryx was on the wall.
I noticed.
Yeah. And he was standing by the sex scromancer.
Yeah.
How dare you?
I've had a few people message me and give me their thoughts on what it is, what's happening. And some people have got some things right, and some people have got things wildly wrong, and all that sorts of things. But I'm hoping this is going to come as a bit of a shock.
It came as a bit of a shock to me.
I'm ready.
He already told
Daddy.
the story.
Shock me further,
Wait.
Daddy.
That was the story? I just thought Rich was talking. I was
telling you what
supposed to be
happened this week.
recording?
I was like, when is Rich going to tell the story? This is just like what he did last week.
Yeah, this is
right?
Afterlords.
Do you guys smell burnt toast?
We're huffing the gold juice from the floor.
That's right, baby.
That was in-fucking-sane, dude. I am so excited to see where the story goes.
I don't want anyone else that I love to die.
Then
Just
why are
in
you
general,
listening
I don't-
to Rick?
That was just in general. I don't really care about the story.
It's good to see the Technomancer back, though.
Yeah, I don't like him.
Yeah, good is relative, I guess.
Yeah, I kind of hate him because he's so stupid.
He's not. He might come back weird, or he might come back like
As
when
a
he was
dog.
when he was sunbathing.
Yeah, he could have that weird personality flaw where he's like weird.
Where he thinks the dog is real, but we learned that that's not true, didn't
That's not
everybody?
true. That dog totally not real.
No, not real at all.
Not as real as Muttsack.
R.I.P. Muttsack, perhaps the greatest
I'm about
character.
to go fucking John Wick over here. I can't believe you killed Muttsack.
I love creating characters. Is what I am learning through this season.
Yeah, you're good at it.
But there's so many, and I haven't. Like, I've killed or put them in situations where they can't come back in the story. A lot of them. Yeah. I like.
I know how George Lucas feels.
I like my
That's why
little-
he made all those weirdos.
I like my little band of bounty hunter heist men. And
Yeah, I
Peggy.
like that Grissom was a pirate.
Yeah, too bad about what happened to all of them.
Yeah.
I will say that my favorite joke in the whole episode is, wasn't that guy a pirate?
That was so good. That was so good.
I put
Great
that.
fucking show.
I put that in last minute as well because I was like, oh shit, I haven't done anything with the fact that he was supposed
You
to be a
didn't explain
pirate.
the pirate thing, yeah.
Oh, it's easier to put a joke in than rewrite something,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
That's how they do it on TV.
Right. And there we go. That's the episode done, guys. Hope you enjoyed.
Man, I'm in shock.
Yeah, I'm having trouble processing further information.
Oh, good. Good. That's what I like.
I'm gonna forget to eat dinner tonight.
No, that would be a bad thing, though, wouldn't it?
I could lose a few pounds.
Come on now,
Oh,
everybody.
man.
Let's end the show.
All right. Okay. Right. So, bear with me because I've got to bring up the prompts.
It's time again to bring up the one and only All-See Prompt Ball.
It's time again to fill dead air as Rich fumbles around.
Right. The first prompt is transformations from Heath Robinson. Sorry, I killed off Heath.
Yeah, fucked up, dude.
Yeah, it is fucked up.
Transformations. And the second one is Handcuffs by J. Carey B. Or J. Carib. I don't know how.
Oh,
Transformations and handcuffs.
That lends itself to some horror.
he
Well,
really wants to see the fucking axe wound show again.
there you go. So next episode, transformations and handcuffs. Might it be time for a story that Jeff has kept under his hat for a really long time?
What do you mean?
Maybe.
I'm not going to say it on air.
Wait, what are you talking about?
I'll say afterwards. If you think you can do better on prompts, or you think I want to be amongst these kings among men and women that provide us with the prompts, then you
Prompt king and
then
queen.
you need to head over to patreon.com/storylords, and for as little as $5 a month, you can get access to our Discord, suggest prompts, and you get access to our other side casts that no, you don't. You have to pay $10 a month for that. You have to pay $10. Sorry, I was a real prick tease there.
Here we're going to interrupt Rich so he can get his shit together for another announcement.
For $10 a month, you get access to our sidecasts that we do, redesigned by committee and Afterlords, and sometimes some Masterpiece Theatre as well. And then for $15, you get all that, and you'll get creator credits in the book when the book comes out. We are on YouTube now, we need to tell you about. So,
Yeah.
once per week, the delicious, the beautiful John Anderson.
Delicious.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been eating pineapple.
Wow.
John Anderson uploads for us once a week our old YouTube back catalogue. Please could you go and have a look at it, go and comment, go and subscribe, like, do all that YouTube shit. And then
Smash that subscribe button.
if you want any other information about the podcast or details or want to see the art, you can head over to storylords.page or storylords.card.co. That's card with 2 R's.
Ooh, I need to put the YouTube link on here.
Our music that you've heard in the breaks, that is provided to us by Vidison. You can find out information about Greg at vidison.card.co. He has recently produced a new album, which is phenomenal. It's really good. I've got it on my repeat. Like, I've probably just burned it out. You can't listen to it. I've played it too much.
I also have played it a lot.
That album
great.
is
But
like all killer, no filler.
Yeah,
it is so
I'm still
fucking
listening
sick.
to it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's amazing. But you can go and buy that on Bandcamp, can't you? So
I don't think it's on Bandcamp yet. He keeps mentioning he's going to put it on Bandcamp, but it is on iTunes and Amazon Music that you can purchase.
I think I've been listening to it on Spotify as well.
Yeah, it is on
Yeah,
Spotify.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it on Amazon right now.
It's called Collecting Sonder by Santosha.
Yeah, it's very, very good. But yeah, the moment that comes out, if you buy it, we would really appreciate it, and I know Greg would too. If he was here, he would say so.
Yeah.
But yeah, any support you can...
I would. It's big Greg.
Any support you can give
It's
to
like
Greg.
he's really here.
It's like he's really here. It's uncanny.
Thanks, guys.
And we would like to thank, as we always do on the show, the following patrons. Henry Roselar, King of Patrons.
The King of
My liege.
Squid Ludwig, Anthony Stoker, Federico Rodriguez, Granola Daniels, Heath Robinson, Jonathan Anderson, Pez King, Rena Kemp, Sean Tabor, Stephen, and then as a thank you to someone I'm just going to call out at random, we're going to say thank you to Alkestra, who has been a Hender Saints tier member since December 5th, 2022. Thank you very much.
Hell yeah.
Special thanks
I
to...
anoint you the saint of money.
I'm going to call out a random thank you as well. Special thank you to Josh Henderson.
What? What did he ever do for anyone?
So yeah, next week, handcuffs and transformations, or transformations and handcuffs, whichever way floats your boats. If you want to put the handcuff on and then transform, I assume it's going to be safer.
What's your safe word?
Safe word is mauling. Ah, not my eyes. That could be the safe word.
Oh, stop.
As always,
My safe word is don't stop. Is that going to work?
Stop.
As always, a big thank you to all of you. We've had a lot of fun doing this season so far, and we wouldn't be able to do it if it wasn't for you guys. You are pretty much... You're definitely my sole income at the moment, but you are a big part of the other two's income as well, so I know they appreciate it.
You're my soul income, SOUL.
Oh, there we go.
You're my sole income, SOL, because you're the center of my universe, my son.
Yeah, Copernicus.
Thank you, as always. We love you, and we'll catch you in 2 weeks for more Storylords goodness. Bye!
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Greg.
See you guys later.